Hey there, everybody. It's Melody. How's your day? How's it going? Welcome back to our Grow With Me series where I'm taking you through the steps that I'm taking to get to full-time artistry. First of all, Happy New Year! It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, sorry. Keeping up with making and editing videos has been a challenge, let me tell you. I mean, it's a lot to script, film, and edit videos in general, but it was particularly difficult the last couple of months because we were moving into the holiday season. I also got sick, then I lost my voice, and then work started back up, so it's just been a struggle. But the holidays are over, I'm feeling better, and it's a new year. I'm ready and raring to get back into the swing of things. And what better way to start than with a little rebranding? I'll start with a little story time to share with you how I came to the decision to rebrand, and then I'll share with you some of the guiding questions I used in order to really figure out what I wanted my brand to be. Now, a few videos ago, I shared with you all my plans and overall outline for how I hope to become a full-time artist. And as you know, the purpose of this channel is to share with you my journey and story towards achieving full-time artistry. That hasn't changed, and it's not going to. However, towards the end of the year, I had a few experiences that really led me to ponder the question, who am I as an artist? I visited this question in the past, but I feel like I need to revisit it again. So I started toying around with the idea of pursuing full-time art in like 2020, 2021. You know, COVID, the realization that life is too short to spend on doing things that don't align with who you are and what brings you joy. Around that time, my YouTube recommendations were filled with amazing artists just making it happen. I was watching so many art YouTubers and studio vlogs. People were making videos, they were making prints, making stickers, printing, cutting, and packing orders, cultivating a small business with their art. Living the dream, right? I watched them and I thought, hey, maybe I can do this too. I felt so inspired and so motivated, and I truly admired all of these wonderful people showing artists everywhere that this is possible. So that's when I started taking my first steps forward in this journey. I started posting more on Instagram, streaming more on Twitch, creating sticker designs and greeting card designs with the intent to sell. I started this YouTube channel, but along the way, I got to admit that something didn't feel quite right, and I just didn't know what it was. That is, until two key events that happened in December that made me rethink everything. First was a conversation I had with another art friend who already owns her own small business. We were talking about art goals for the new year, and I mentioned that one of my resolutions was to table at an arts and crafts fair in 2023. She nodded and smiled, and then said something to the effect of, "Oh, you don't want to do that." So I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Your work won't really sell at a place like an arts and crafts fair. You won't find your audience there. Your stuff will get a lot more attention and business in the artist alley at an anime convention." Oh, you think so? Yeah. Anime fans, kids and teens, eager shoppers looking to buy all kinds of merch. That's your target audience. Huh. Now let me back up a little and say, she's not wrong. Looking at my body of work, especially what I put out in 2022, that honestly makes sense and is sound advice from an objective and business standpoint, and I truly appreciate her perspective. But for some reason, it hit me in a way that I didn't expect. I started thinking things like, is that my target audience? And is that the only target audience I want to hit? Or even things like, is that how I really want to look at my work? As merch? And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with designing and creating, having a product in mind, it just didn't really align and sit with me personally. It just became abundantly clear that that's not really what I wanted for myself as an artist. So then the question becomes, well, what do you want? Which leads me to our second key event. My husband and I had gone to a local Christmas market to do some last-minute shopping. We perused and walked past many shops, but I couldn't help but stop and admire one particular stall. There were just so many whimsical and thoughtful paintings and illustrations that I found that I didn't want to leave. I wanted to spend more time with them, looking, enjoying, feeling. Honestly, I can't quite explain it other than I just wanted to keep looking. Needless to say, we purchased 2 of her wonderful paintings that now have found a place on the walls of our home. Anyway, it was then that I realized that I didn't want to create merch, right? I wanted to create work that people would want to spend time with, for lack of a better term. I want to create work that tells a story or invokes a feeling beyond a chuckle from a silly pun or a nod from a relatable quote. I just want my work to communicate a little bit more with my viewers. Now, I want to be perfectly crystal clear here. There is absolutely nothing wrong with artwork that is built off of a silly pun or a relatable quote or similar artwork that's made for product development. There are plenty of amazing artists whose focuses are on these types of... I'm just saying it doesn't speak to who I am personally as an artist. Make sense? Of course, with all that being said, all the illustrations and designs I made in 2022 that were modeled after those types of products was and still is super valuable work. And it's not like I want to throw it all away or stop creating those types of things completely. I just don't want it to be the bulk of what I'm creating. Because ultimately what I realized was that I was just so envious of these artists I was seeing on social media that I was trying to emulate the types of artists they were and the type of art that they were creating instead of being who I am and creating work that means something to me. I was trying to mold my own content and style to fit what I was seeing them do and what I noticed was successful for them, but in the process, I think I lost sight of who I was as an artist and what my own art was. And in the end, that means I never had truly built a brand for myself at all. So, with all that being said, the next step is to actually build a brand, right? But I obviously don't know too much about that, so I did do a little bit of research and found some guiding questions that I used and answered in order to figure out who I am and what I want my brand to eventually be. I'll share them here now if it's something that you're also interested in and struggling with, but keep in mind that these are just the initial questions I used to really explore within myself. There are additional, more logistical branding questions that I'm going to have to tackle later, but for right now, these are just the ones that really help me figure out what direction I want to move in and the things I want to focus on. So, let's get into it. So first off, we have, what are brands, artists, and sellers that you enjoy and admire? This question was crucial in helping me figure out the type of artist I am and want to be, as well as the type of work that I want to put out. Because as I was thinking about my favorite artists, I actually realized that none of them are artists that create designs that are specifically optimized for stickers and stationery, such as individual characters or icon-like designs. Instead, they were artists who were creating whole scenes that depicted bright moods and atmospheres, cheerful colors, stories, and relationships. The bulk of their works are full compositions, and many of them actually use watercolor as their medium of choice. They do sell items like stickers and stationery, but those are not the main focus of their shops. Instead, their shops are largely comprised of things like posters and prints for the home, recipe cards and books, calendars, postcards, folder and notebook covers. Items that would allow them to showcase those fuller illustrations as opposed to individual components. I admire these artists not only because of their use of bright and warm colors, but also for their ability to communicate with the people who stop to look and admire their work, whether they're communicating a feeling, a relationship, a story, or something you can't quite explain. Who are the artists that you most admire and enjoy? Let me know in the comments. So, like I said, realizing these things about my favorite artists helped me figure out who I want to be as an artist and what I want to do as an artist. Which brings us to our next question. Who are you as an artist? What are you good at and what do you want to be good at? I'm still figuring this part out, but I can at least get us started. I'm an artist who loves depicting characters together. Family, friends, partners. If you scroll down past my newer stuff, you can see that reflected in my work before I started trying to focus on sticker designs and things like that. I particularly enjoy drawing facial expressions and cheerful scenes, though I do have the occasional sad scene too. I think I just love to draw love. In terms of what I'm good at, I think I'm pretty good at facial expressions, and my biggest strengths are probably in my sketches and my line art. But what I really want to be good at is using color to express mood and tone and atmosphere, and to use it as a storytelling technique. I also want to be good at creating pleasing compositions, so knowing where to place different elements on an art piece and knowing how to direct the viewer's eye to a focal point naturally. Both of those are pretty connected with backgrounds in general, which is something that I've been working on getting better at the last couple of years, but I'm really gonna put a hard focus on it for 2023. All right, our next question is, who is your audience and what kind of impact do you wanna have on them? With this question, I just kind of realized that I didn't want my main audience to be interpreted as being attendees at an anime convention. And that's not me saying that I don't want anime fans to be a part of my audience at all. I do. That just means that I want to be able to expand beyond that pool. Speaking from a broader sense of just people, I also want to pique the interest of people who are looking for things to decorate their homes with, or people who are looking for encouragement and joy in their lives, or people who want to share encouragement and joy with others. I want to make the kind of stuff that people would want to give or receive as gifts or just pleasant little surprises. As for the kind of impact I want to have on them, I would say that I want to create things that give people a more lasting feeling or joy than in the moment. I want them to be able to leave with some kind of feeling, or I want to grab them with a story. And like I was saying earlier, I just want my work to be able to communicate with people, right? Maybe to cheer them up or encourage them or help them feel understood. Maybe that means there are outright messages on them, or maybe there aren't, but either way, that's just the kind of feeling I know that I want my work to convey. The next question I pondered was, what are you selling and why are you selling? Considering how I want to do things now, I think that the products I end up selling will look different from the ones I pictured initially going into my shop. Like, I thought I would be focusing mostly on things like stickers, but maybe my focus is more on prints and boards and stuff like that. I don't know, I think that this will come out more as I'm creating more artwork that I can then use in order to become a product, as opposed to designing something with a product in mind. Which is what I was doing before, and honestly, I wasn't finding much success because, again, it just wasn't me. In terms of why I'm selling, I mean, the most obvious reason is that I want to be able to use my work to make an income and eventually turn what I love into a career. But also, I just want to be able to put more brightness and joy out into the world as well. And I want to put out more empathy and cheer and encouragement. So yeah. Maybe that's something I should list out, like things and situations that bring me joy. I'll have to brainstorm more on that later. And the last question that I'll include for now, how do you picture your shop? I took this question in a very literal sense, like picturing my actual shop space, but you can take it however you want to. For me, I thought about both my in-person and online shop presence and setup. Like, how does my shop look? What kind of work will be front and center? What kind of sections will I have? So at this point, I'm still thinking that there'd be a section for stickers and stationery, but it wouldn't be as prominent as what I was originally thinking. Instead, I want my artwork to be super prominent, so maybe a lot of prints and paintings that are all along the walls of the shop. I think it'd be nice to repurpose some of those prints and have them be covers for things like journals and notebooks, because journaling has been a huge part of my life the last couple of years. And I haven't really mentioned this much before, but I used to be a teacher, so there's a part of me that really wants to have some kind of children's section in my shop. So maybe the artwork that would be featured there would be prints that would be for babies and children's rooms, and then artwork that could be repurposed into products for that. I don't know. Overall, I think I want my space to just feel very welcoming and for it to be very obvious that the main focal point is all of the artwork itself. but I suppose we'll see what happens as this journey continues, right? Whew. Well, that was a lot. If you're somebody who's been struggling with branding, I hope that you found this video to be helpful, or at the very least, to help you see that you're not alone. And if you're somebody who has it all figured out, like, let us know in the comments. If any of the questions from the video really resonated specifically with you, let us know in the comments which one it was, and if you feel comfortable, let us know the answer. But yeah, you guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.